Have you ever had a system that you absolutely love using, and for the most part, it does everything that you need it to do? I I do. I've been doing this for many years. It's basically just a list, a weekly list, and then every day I go in and I prioritize what I want to get done that day, what needs to get done. So this is the stuff I had to get done that week, and then I would just highlight it and then tick it off as, highlight it the day I was going to work on it and then tick it off when it was done. This works great for me. I need simple for the most part because I get overwhelmed very easily. So this works very, very well for me. However, the problem is this isn't enough. Okay. I unfortunately um, I run a business, and this isn't quite enough. I mean, it's for a lower level position in my company. This works great, but because I operate at a higher level, I need something that's going to do a bit more. Am I going to stop doing this? No. So I'm going to add something else to it. And I won't this is personal size, so it's too small for all the stuff that I need. So I'm going to try using a narrow and see if that works. I'm just going to try this system out and see if it works. Okay, I made this system up in my head one night at 3 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep. So I'm going to give it a shot, and it's going to be in the narrow starter kit. And so I thought I would show that to you, and then I'll show you the system that I'm going to use. And I don't know how this got so dirty, but let's see. So this is a dashboard. If you're not familiar with these, it's vinyl, and it has these little tick marks in the corner. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get something under it so you can see. But it's got these little nip marks here in the corners, and that keeps it from tearing. And also it has these ribs on the spine that help it bend and stay in place. So it's the point of this is it's not to put this inside of, oops, that's the wrong one. The starter kit will come with a brown cover like this, not a blue one like this, but I have this blue one, so I'm going to use it. So the point of these dashboards is not to stick your cover in it, because it won't go in it. It's just to add a layer around it, and you'll see that it fits very nicely right around it. And then what you can do is you can put scrapbook paper if you want inside there, or photographs, whatever you want. You can decorate it however you want. I am going to put this in there because I need this reminder. And I'm going to size it to the way that it's supposed to be because it's not, I printed this out on my printer here at the office, and it is about a 1/4 of an inch too tall. So I'm going to take a 1/4 of an inch off. I'll just use a pencil. And let me just do it this way so I can get that 1/4 of an inch. And it might end up being too wide as well, but we'll go with the height first. And then I have leather lotion over here somewhere that's getting on things. So that's what that little smudge is. And then I'm just going to cut it off with scissors because that's what I have in front of me. And if it's not enough, I'll cut more off, but for now I think that's going to work. All right, and then this is the back. So in the back here it says chicsparrow.com, made in the USA, and then it has the part number and it says narrow on it. So and I printed this on the back of some cardstock that I had, and it ended up being upside down, but that's okay. I'm not gonna fuss too much about that. And then you just slide it in just like that, and then you have your dashboard. And you know what, I think it's going to be perfect over there, so I'm going to go ahead and slide it in back here as well. Now dashboards are handy because you can stick sticky notes to them, yeah, that ended up being a perfect fit. Now, if you want to know the measurements, and because you want to do this on the narrow, here are the measurements of the paper. Oops, there we go. So the paper is 9 1/16 by like 8 inches. We'll say 8 inches, but if you could go 8 and 1/32, but I would just say 8 inches is fine. So there we have this here, and then this leather here. This is pretty much the reason why I decided to do the narrow size, is because I fell in love with this piece of leather. This is a it's an Austin Darcy, and I already scratched it up and stuff. If you and I did get schmutz on it too from leather lotion. So yeah, be forewarned. And then I'm going to be using this because I have it. I have a stack of these that didn't quite make quality control, and so they became mine, and so I'm going to use it. But the kit does come with a brown one and is blank inside. This one I kind of taped shut for the photography because it was just too wide, but they are blank inside, and this isn't even the right paper, but they are blank and they have a brown. So this one I'm using though has a dot grid on it. You can get these. This is the standard size. I call it narrow, but it's the standard size, and you can get them pretty much anywhere nowadays. So even Amazon has them. So then you just slide it underneath the elastic in the middle of the book, and then it's all set and ready to go. So that is how that works. Okay, so now that is the starter kit. So if you've never used a traveler's notebook before and you want to get into it, and you don't want to make, you don't want to be overwhelmed by all the different choices, because you could design your own. A lady designed this and ended up having to cancel her order, but she designed this. This is not a design I would have done, but this is what she thought would work for her, and I think it's super cute. She got the little spine on there. So you can design your own, or you can go with a design that we already have, but I wanted to show you this. It's basic, and I love basic, and the simplicity of it is going to help me with the complexity that's inside of it, because I do get overwhelmed quite easily, and I know that about myself, so I just want to, hang on, there we go. That elastic was going to bother me this whole time. So anyway, let me show you what I did. I did do it in pencil because things are going to change. It is quite complex, so I didn't want to make it pretty. Okay, and this is a tip for you too. Don't have the pressure of trying to make everything pretty when you're starting something new. I will make this pretty if I decide I like doing this, first of all, and secondly, I will make it pretty later. Like right now, this is just a thought. This is, I want to try it. I want to see how it works. I want to see if this is what I need to do in order to run my business. And that's what is going on inside of here. This is nothing personal. It's all business. There's also no numbers in here yet. And that's why I thought, oh, now's the time to share it, because, then you can kind of see the setup. So I just have the May page here. And then I put a calendar. Okay. And I put the calendar this way because it ended up to where I didn't have to break, because you have 7 days, and there would have been one like right in the middle. And if I turned it this way, then I didn't have to do that. I also started it on Monday, which meant I didn't have to have another box down here. And so I like this, and I will add things to it as it goes. So there we are, a calendar for May. And then, like things I'll add to it. Sorry, my mind just stopped for a second. The things I'll add to it are launch dates, things leading up to launches, things that happen after a launch, And, of course, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will not really be on here, but since I'm doing a full calendar, because these are the only days I really care about, are right here. Um, these ones here, we don't work. So I will probably color these a different color just so that I know Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we don't work. Although Mark and I do come in on Fridays and do work that, but the team is not on, doesn't work here. So anyway, here we go. Um, this is the month at a glance, okay? So as a business, we need to watch our revenue. So I have a revenue goal and a cash goal. Revenue is totally different than cash. So, but I need to track those things. And then I have a primary focus. Okay. Um, and one example was to publish new photography and improve product page conversion. And so that is something I'll be working on. You will see that on the website all throughout the month of May. And I hope that I get it done in the month of May. I don't know if I will, but I'm going to try. That's going to be a big priority for me. And then this month I have 3 priorities, only 3 because I will get overwhelmed with more than that. So I will write them here. What 3 priorities do I have? And then what needs my attention? Okay, so there's areas and then the question I ask about that area. And then basically the notes part is the answer for it. Okay, so cash, do we have enough breathing room? We always need to be aware of our cash flow. Sales, are people buying consistently? That's important. Marketing, are we creating demand? Website, is the buying path clear? Product, are our offers easy to understand? And team, where are the bottlenecks? Okay, the metrics that I need to keep track of are all here. And then this month, I'm not focusing on, because it's important to say, you know what, I'm not going to focus on that right now. I'm going to focus on something else. And so I have 3 things here that I won't focus on. That I'm going to be like, you know what, that's for another day, not today. And then decisions that I made this month. And I left myself, because I tend to make a lot of decisions, I left myself 2 whole pages to make decisions on. Okay. So that's the month overview. And then we have a week overview. All right. Now, if you remember over here on the month, I had 3 priorities. Okay. So now for each week, the week's priorities that I have, they need to support the month priorities. So if I have something that I'm doing this week, it needs to support this. So basically, I'm breaking this big goal down into weekly tasks so that that big goal gets accomplished. And then, of course, the weekly numbers, because I have to keep track of that. And then, what was this week's biggest issue? Because there's always something. There's always something. And then this week's 3 priorities. I don't know why I have that twice. I did do this at 3 a.m. So there might be duplicates. But I did do it in pencil so I can erase it and write what actually might need to go there. I don't know. I'll think. And then this week's CEO decisions. Okay, so again, this is things that I have to make on, the upper level of my company because it's my company. I don't like to use the word CEO because it's a small company. I mean, we have 4 team members that work the leather, and then we have my husband who also works as a team member, so he would make the 5th. And we have me, and then we have Elizabeth, and that's it. So we are very, very small. I don't like the word CEO. It sounds very corporate, but I really don't know a better word for what I am supposed to be doing. So we're using that, okay? We're just going to go with it for now. And then there are things that I can delegate or remove from my task list each week. Some things will get delegated to Elizabeth or to Mark. It kind of just depends on what it is and if it's in my wheelhouse or if they're better suited for the job. And a weekly reminder, am I working on the business or am I hiding inside of tasks? So I thought that was important. And then we have daily pages. Okay. So this is something that I will not copy every day. Instead, I'll write the date, and then I'll write the outcome. I won't write today's main outcome. I'll just write the outcome. And then the top 3 tasks, I will just write 1, 2, 3, and then I will write them out. I won't have each of these headers in there because I'm not going to copy every single day. I'm not going to copy this format. It's just not going to happen. I'm just not going to do it. And then this year will probably get moved to a spreadsheet, but I will have a check mark to say that I have checked these things every day. But I'm probably going to move this to a spreadsheet because keeping data like this is much better on a spreadsheet. So, and then today's decision, okay, what am I avoiding is a good thing because I do avoid things, especially when I'm feeling overwhelmed and like I don't even know where to start. I will just start avoiding anything at all and everything, and that's not a strength, guys. It's not. But I'm just being honest with you. And then a parking lot for distractions. Okay, so if something is distracting me, I can write it here and get back to it later and get back to focusing on what I need to focus on. And then the end of day questions. Okay, what moved the business forward today? And just write that there. What drained me? That's important to know as well. And what needs attention tomorrow. Between this and everything, hopefully nothing will slip through the tracks or slip through the cracks. And everything will be a lot easier for me to manage, I'm hoping. Now, this is a lot more complex than my little weekly list system. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick to it, but I am going to give it an honest try. I'm going to try very hard to work with this, and hopefully, hopefully, I will be more productive and more focused. And that's kind of what I need is more focus and to make sure that, all these little boxes get ticked and that I'm doing everything I can to grow my business and, just be grateful and humble and just excited for each new day. That is what I'm aiming for and what I'm trying to accomplish is, to run my business in a godly way and one that helps my employees and gives my customers something that they love to use and benefits their life as much as my business has benefited mine. So that is what I'm trying to do. I will still do this. Like I don't see myself stopping this. I I'm a list person. And some people don't like lists, but I'm still going to use this. I might just use this as a notebook for a little while. I don't know. But this is not going away. I'm just adding this to my ecosystem. And hopefully that all made sense to y'all. And hopefully, if you haven't been introduced to the starter kit, incidentally, you don't have to be a beginner to get a starter kit. You're allowed to have them no matter how many you have in your collection. If you like something simple and sometimes you feel like you need to go back to the basics, this is the way to go. It's a very simple design. Yes, it is supposed to have a slit up here at the top and at the bottom. This is what keeps the notebook from going wide like that. It helps it kind of just flatten out and be simple. You can add more inserts to here as well. I have this one here, which has multiple inserts in it. And you just do that by, you have elastic bands and you put your notebook on here like this. And you kind of piggyback them together, and then you add it on here to the elastic band here. I already had one underneath here hooked on, and then you have 4 inserts. This one's just a folder, but then you have more inserts in there, and there's all kinds of things. Again, this is the standard size. I call it narrow, but it's standard size, and you can use it multiple ways. So, all right, well, that's it. Thanks for joining me today, and being here with me as I add this to my ecosystem. And I'm gonna give it an honest shot. We'll see how it goes. And until next time, I guess I'll see you in the comments, and have a wonderful day.